Social Security, big topic of conversation always. So let's get into it this week and talk about what some changes or possible shakeups could do for you or to you in retirement. This week here on Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts. Welcome into Phil's Tax Hacks and Other Retirement Facts with CPA and personal financial specialist Phil Putney. Now let's get rolling with today's show. What's going on, gang? Thanks for hanging out with Philly and I as we talk investing, finance, and retirement. And Phil, Social Security never comes up at all, right? Nobody ever talks about that. Yeah.
One of the hottest topics that always gets brought up in retirement, but yeah.
Constantly under discussion. So yeah. So we got this report. We got this thing. We'll post the show links here. But Congressman Brendan Boyle asked the Congressional Budget Office to provide information about the effects of increasing the age. We've talked about this now, Phil, for 2 years, and said that they're going to have to, right? We're going to have to move the numbers, and taking it from 67 to 69. So let's kind of, I guess, use that as the piece of the fodder for conversation. It makes me, so think about, what was it, like a year and a half ago, they moved the pensioner thing in France back 2 years, and they had like 30 days worth of riots.
Yep. It's crazy.
From people who won't even be retiring for 40 years. We're upset about it, right? But look, the reality is that it's underfunded. We've got issues, and there's a lot of different things that are floating out there. Who knows what they'll eventually get done? But at the end of the day, maybe moving the early retirement age from 62 back to 64, maybe taking 67 to 69. Those are some of those pieces that could keep things rolling, right? So. Right. Let's talk about it this week. What are some key takeaways? What's your thoughts? All that good jazz.
Yeah. So, to your point, this is something we've talked about, and I've talked about in my classes for years, because there's problems, right? It's underfunded.
Right.
If it can't continue the way it is today forever. But I've always said that I think the reason things haven't changed is because there's enough things they can do to change it, to make it work, that they just haven't done it yet. And this is one of them. So the first thing when we talk about the 67 to 69, and this is a discussion I have with clients and prospective clients in the class too, is that it's not going to affect those that are there, right? So, if you're collecting Social Security today, it's not going to affect you. Don't worry about it, right? It's the way this is set up and proposed is for those that are a little younger, right? And the way this one reads, actually, so it's going to be phased in from 67 to 69 for those starting born in 1965 or after. So if you're born in 65 or after, then your full retirement age is going to be changed from 67 to 67 in some number of months, just like it is today for 66 to 67, same thing. So it's going to be phased in for those that are younger. And I think as those born after 1972, then you're going to be 69. Is your full retirement age.
So, so my wife, for example, I would be I would stay in the 67 more than likely. Mm-hmm. She would move to the 60, moving to 69 before she could take full retirement, right?
Right.
Which I do have to say, I'm surprised at it being that early. I really thought when the first person made a proposal, and I don't know if this was the first person, but when they made a proposal, I really thought it would be something like 1980, like somebody born after 1980 or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I did too initially. I didn't think it would be brought this that far down, but it is what it is. It's something that they need to do to make the system work. So for those that are in their 50s today, looking at retirement, potentially, this might affect you. It's gonna in this effect, you got to look at it a lot of different ways, because it's so the full retirement age, that's when you get 100% of the benefit. So if your full retirement age isn't 67, but it's 68, well, you can still file at 67, but you're going to get a lesser benefit. You can still actually file at 62, but it's even going to be a lower benefit than those that could file at 67 today and file at 62. So it's that sliding scale of, here's full retirement. If you file early, you lose benefit, the statutory reduction. The other side of the effects is if you file later, you get that extra 8% a year. So if somebody now has a full retirement age of 67, well, they don't have 3 years. They only have 2 years to 70 to get the extra 8%. So I mean, it can have an effect on your retirement overall for those that are, I would say in that 50 or younger for sure, mid 50s or younger, start to look at it because it's going to potentially change some of the facts, but you're not there yet anyways. You're not filing for Social Security, but just understand how this potentially might change your plan.
Well, to give some impacts on the benefit to kind of highlight what you were just talking about there. So for example, like, look, if you take it early now at 62, you're taking a haircut, right? Like if you don't wait till full retirement age, to your point, you're taking a haircut.
You get a 30% reduction, right?
Yeah. So thank you for saying that. So that 30% would move to 40% reduction.
40%.
If you were one of these people born in 1972 and the age was 69 and you decided to take it at 62, because you're talking about you're taking it 7 years early.
7 years early at that point. Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, to kind of flip it the other direction too, well, now you only get 8%, so you can no longer, if we take it all the way back to full retirement of 66, well, somebody at 66 waiting till 70,
right,
that's 4 years at 8%. So they could get 132% of their benefit if they waited. Well, somebody now born in 72 or after, well, you can only get 108%.
Yeah. Interesting.
So I mean, it's you have to look at the both sides of that equation, kind of that sliding scale of, moving full retirement changes the age that you get 100% of the benefit. But I think the bigger effect of it is really the delayed earning credit side, right? Because you're going to not be able to grow the benefit as long. And they haven't talked, and I don't think you'll hear them talk about moving that out. So giving somebody, taking the delay from 70 to 73 or 4 or 5 or something to give you those extra years to get the extra 8%. So, I mean, this is one of the ways that they can help prop this, the system up, make it more sustainable.
Yeah.
Is not giving you the ability to get a higher benefit by waiting. But if you do take it early, it's going to be even a lower benefit because you're getting it that many more years early.
Gotcha. Well, and to that point as well, so another piece of this is the effects across different income levels and demographics. Mm-hmm. And so basically it seems to be that the reduction in lifetime benefits would be pretty small, pretty similar for most people, but the higher earners would certainly experience a larger proportional reduction, which I kind of get a little bit because, let's be like, Oprah qualifies for Social Security. Does she
right, everyone. Yeah.
No.
Right, yeah. Right. Yeah, so I mean, the way Social Security gets developed or gets calculated, the lower there's 3 tiers basically of income that get factored into this full retirement age benefit. The lower tiers of income have a higher effect. So somebody on the higher tiers, and then there's the cutoff, right? There's a maximum amount of wages that are subject to Social Security. So the reality is, for those lower tiers, your wage has played more heavily into your benefit anyways. So,
yeah, good point. What about the impact on Social Security, the trust fund, financial health? So obviously raising the FRA, the design is to help it, clearly.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, this is to help make it more long-term sustainable, right? Because right now the trust fund is going to run out, and, that number or day changes every year when they come up with this report each year. So now it's 2034 is what they're saying. Yeah. So they're just saying that this is going to help actuarially from a long term help reduce that deficit. So, and this is the piece that often changes with that is they say, okay, the trust fund's going to run out at a certain point. If that happens, then we're going to have to change the benefit. We're going to have to reduce it by, and it's been anywhere from 30 to 20%, 20, somewhere in that range. Well, this is going to help with that deficit. By changing these, then they might not have to reduce it. And ultimately, the goal is to get that to 0. So, so all these different things that they can change are going to play into making the benefit more long-term sustainable. Because at some point, that trust fund, when it runs out, the benefits that are being paid are going to have to be paid by the current workers. And that's how the system was designed originally. It was those that are paying in for Social Security today are really funding the retirees. That's how it was originally designed.
That's how it's always been. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Tax Smart Retiree is your comprehensive guide to mastering tax efficiency for a flourishing retirement. you'll find indispensable advice and actionable strategies designed to enhance tax savings, maximize Social Security benefits, protect against market volatility, and develop a customized retirement plan. To get your free ebook, click the link in the show notes of today's episode and download your copy of The Tax Smart Retiree right now.
So, I would say for sure, if you are definitely under 50, you really, again, all the signs have been pointing for a number of years to make sure that you are funding your own retirement to be on the safe side, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And one other aspect I think of this that people aren't maybe considering, and you really need to consider, it doesn't apply to everyone, but that's Social Security disability. Okay. So, Social Security disability is effectively it's a little bit beyond this, but it's getting your full retirement benefit early when you're disabled.
Right.
Which the further out that they push full retirement age, the more important disability can be. So for instance, somebody that is their full retirement age is 67 today, if they're getting ready to retire and they're currently 66, does it really make sense for them to go through all the headache and hassle of getting Social Security disability? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, they would get it a year early. They wouldn't take the reduction. But there's not a lot of benefit. But if your full retirement age is 69, well, yeah, now we've got 4 years, and it may make more sense to, if you're qualified. Obviously, it's, disability isn't something that everyone gets. You have to qualify to get it. And it's a long, involved process to qualify and actually get the benefit. But my point is that I think it's going to be more pertinent for those that have a disability and are nearing retirement to look at Social Security disability than say, it's only a couple of years, I'm not going to bother. Because at your full retirement age, you switch off disability and just go on traditional retiree benefit anyways. So.
Okay. Gotcha. I gotcha. Well, again, this has not happened yet. It's just proposed.
Yes. Yep.
So at the end, don't panic, right? Just yet.
Yeah, don't make harsh or rash decisions yet. So
right, but you do need to start thinking about it, and you do need to, no matter what kind of age you are, you need to start kind of doing a bit of planning. Now, again, to Phil's point, if you're already on Social Security, I don't think it's gonna. Well, it doesn't appear that this proposal or maybe any other proposal will change that. And again, who knows if this even gains any ground right now with all the other problems that we have going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of other things happening.
Our politicians like to kick the can down the road, so I don't see this being fully resolved or having a strong plan till probably at least 2030 anyway, with about a 3 or 4 year window before it runs out. So who knows, right? If it runs out in 2034, they'll wait till 2033 before they do anything.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is we just did a podcast on the differences in the candidates on their tax proposals. Neither of them touch Social Security from this standpoint. There's one of them, they talked about potentially not taxing Social Security, but none of them talked about, how are we going to make this Social Security more sustainable? I've always joked and said it's a political hot potato. No one wants to touch it. So whoever touches this is probably going to be blamed for everything. So they just say, nope, not going to go there.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the third rail of politics. So anyway, if you got questions, need some help. Yeah. If you're worried about how to strategize currently with Social Security, with the rules that are in place and how it affects your retirement, or for what you need to do for the future and making sure that you're not as reliant on it as because you don't want to be as reliant on it if you don't have to be, then get on the calendar, have a conversation with Phil. If you'd like a complimentary consultation and review, reach out to him. We've got information on the screen throughout the podcast. You can check the show notes for links to get in touch with him and all that good jazz as well. So just give him a call, give him a holler, get on the calendar, have a conversation for yourself, and we will see you next time here on Phil's Tax Hacks and other retirement facts.
Phil? Investment advisory services offered through AFS Wealth Management. The content of this program is provided for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation or recommendation of any investment strategy. Investments and or investment strategies involve risk, including the possible loss of principal. There is no assurance that any investment strategy will achieve its objectives.